What's up guys, it's Grant, and today I'm going to be showing you guys 3 ways to get faster using your bow staff. What's up guys, so I've been getting a lot of questions recently on how to get faster using your bow, so I decided I'd put together a video and tell you guys kind of the 3 basic ways that I use to get faster with my bow staff. So the first way to get faster is using a heavy bow. Heavy bow is basically a regular bow that is weighted, and it's obviously just kind of like weight training, but with weight training, you're not really practicing specific things that you're doing with your bow staff, whereas using a heavy bow, you're literally doing the exact movements that you're doing in your kata or your form or your routine, so it immediately makes your bow faster because you're doing what you're actually going to be doing at a competition. So I've been doing heavy bow for a while. I first started using it when I was a little bit younger, but you want to make sure you don't use it when you're too young because it is technically a form of weight training, and weight training when you're too young can hurt you. So always make sure that you're healthy enough to use it and that you have an instructor watching you, everything checks out so you're not going to hurt yourself. Another big thing is to make sure that the bow is not too light. Obviously if it's too light it's not really going to work, but another huge thing is make sure it's not too heavy. I used a heavy bow that it wasn't that it was too heavy, but I'm not sure if my wrists were a little bit weak or I hadn't stretched them or something, and I ended up hurting my wrist, and it took a really long time to get my wrist fixed up. So I definitely recommend don't go too heavy. It doesn't need to be that heavy. In some cases, if it's too heavy, you can't even do a lot of the moves that are in your kata. Another thing is if you have tricks, make sure you don't do them. Obviously that's a really easy way to get hurt because the bow is a little bit heavier. I'd say, especially if you're younger, don't use this very frequently. Again, make sure you're of a certain age. Personally, for me, when I'm trying to increase speed, I'll do the heavy bow, say 3 times like every other day to give myself that rest. You don't have to do that. Obviously you can do like 2, you can do 1, whatever works for you. But again, really, really important to make sure that you don't use it when you're too young so that you don't hurt yourself. Another huge thing, heavy bow, make sure you take it easy on certain spots where, like I said before, if your wrist is bent in a weird position, make sure you take it slow or even skip those parts so you don't hurt yourself, because obviously you want to really avoid injuries because it takes a long time to recuperate from them. And hurting yourself when training is never fun. The second way to get faster with your bow staff is by using a longbow. A longbow is basically a regular bow that's a little bit longer than you, and it's not necessarily that it makes you faster instantly like the heavy bow does, but if it's a little bit longer than you, it's going to be a little bit heavier, so it might make you a little bit faster in terms of that. But the main reason for using longbow is to do speed bows. Now speed bow katas, literally all it is you're just trying to go as fast as possible, and I prefer to do these in sets. Usually I'll do, say, a back-to-back kata, so 2 katas as fast as I can with no breaks. Then I'll take a 30-second to 1 minute break, do another set, and then sometimes do another set. Again, like the heavy bow, however many katas you do, it's up to you. Obviously don't hurt yourself, don't do too many, but you just want to try to do these as fast as possible. Now, like I said, it's not necessarily that the bow is heavy and it's going to make you faster instantly like the heavy bow does. The main reason for this is to keep your conditioning. A lot of times when I'm judging katas or watching katas or even doing a kata myself, I find that sometimes I'll go super fast in the beginning and the middle of the kata, but by the time I get to the end, I kind of die out and I get really tired at the end. So that means I slow down. But unfortunately, most likely the part of your kata the judges are going to remember the most is the very end of your kata. So if you slow down at the end, chances are the judges are going to think that you were that slow the entire time, despite the fact that you probably went faster in the beginning and middle. So if you do the sets of speed bow with your longbow, you're obviously going to get better conditioning. You're most likely going to be able to keep the same speed throughout the entire kata, and it's obviously just going to make you faster throughout the whole thing, on top of, if you're doing heavy bow on top of that. A lot of times I'll do this with heavy bow, and both of these things really help a lot. Another big reason why I recommend using the longbow is because it kind of forces you to have good technique. You want to try to go flat. Say for example, if you're bringing the bow over the head, you want to go as flat as possible. If you're bringing the bow behind the back, you want to make sure your arms aren't too low, because then it's going to hit the ground and then your technique wasn't good. So it forces you to kind of bring your arms up and have them in the right spot. Now the third and final way I recommend to get faster at using the bow is simply by doing your bow kata, or doing the bow in general with your regular bow. Especially at a younger age, when you can't do weight training, you can't do obviously heavy bow, literally just practicing your kata is going to make you faster. A lot of times simply doing the move, getting in the rhythm of doing the move makes it easier to go faster. So literally just practicing it over and over again is probably, I'd say, the best way to get faster, even at an older age when you can do weight training. With anything, the more practice you have, the better you'll be, and obviously the more practice, the faster you'll be. So I definitely say out of all 3 of these things, probably the most important is simply practicing it. But again, I do all 3. I'll do sets where I'll do a certain amount of heavy bows, I'll switch to the long bow, then I'll switch back to my regular bow at the end and see how I've improved in that amount of time. And just kind of do that every now and then. And those are things that have really helped for me over time doing the bow staff, and especially, like I said, recently, moving up into the adult division this past year, trying to really get faster really quick. So these are basically the 3 ways, as I said, that I use to get faster at the bow. If you're older, again, on top of heavy bow, you can do regular weight training with actual weights. But again, if you're younger, make sure you stay away from that stuff. And then once you reach the certain age, make sure you have supervision and that you're, completely healthy and it's going to be safe to actually do that. So that's basically it. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to let me know. Again, I got a bunch of messages asking how to get faster with the bow, so that's why I decided to put this video together. So if you guys want to see any other videos similar to this or anything else, feel free to let me know. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if it does. And I'll see you guys in the next video.